Five. 5 minutes. Sociology and social structure. Social structure is our immediate environment. It is I, robot. It is me as a social being. Our individuality, right out the window. We are our social security number. We are our birth year. We are our place of residence. We are our marital status. We are our educational status. We are our employment status. So, where does that leave us? Well, understanding, if you've been following, culture being the rhythm and soul of society, structure is that bureaucracy, it is that organization. Three, maybe I'll give you four um, basic concepts that put us in this structure. And it begins with this concept of status. Um, we are in a particular a position whereby we are judged and we interact with others according to that position. Now, that position is race, class, job title, educational status, economic level, that's class. It can filter over to your neighborhood, where you're from, East Coast, West Coast, South, North, Westchester, Philadelphia, Rhode Island, West Virginia. So there's this social structure. And within that position, there's a particular role that you occupy, that the norm, the general culture that we discussed, expects you to act accordingly. Now, in our society, that can vary so much. A kid from the East is not the same as a kid from the West. A person with no formal education is different from a person with a formal education. A person with a lot of means and income and money in the bank and investment portfolios and such is different from someone who is on limited income, depending on public services for survival and so on. So your title determines your role. And this is why people criticize sociology for labels. However, it's important when we interact with someone to identify them. We meet someone and we say, "Oh, what do you do for a living? Where are you from? Where do you live? What school did you go to?" And I love to play this game and just act like nothing, nothing. Because if I answer any of those questions, you put me in a cognitive scheme, you profile me, you size me up, and now we continue to interact. An upcoming video, social interaction. So social structure is governed by this position. Now, that sounds too easy or too simple. Well, imagine if that position is governed and described not by the culture, but by bureaucracy, by organizations, by policy, and of course today, social media. What if images on commercials, lyrics of songs, the way you speak, the way you act, is described in a certain way by newscasters and magazines or teachers and leaders or people of influence? So social structure is really government, organizational, corporate, legal, if you will, Washington, the universities, think tanks that decide what this position means. And then we act accordingly and treat people as the norm would be expected when we know, in fact, that we are not robots, that we are human beings. But sociology does, in fact, place us in those categories. And it's important to recognize what is your status, and what is the status of that person you're interacting with. And where can we meet to get the job done? of effective communication and maybe even getting along.